Bienvenue. Welcome to this week's Cladding Matters. Now, the keen-eyed amongst you will notice that we do 4 property podcasts a week. This is the 4th. And we start on Monday with property matters or construction matters, depending on what the topic is. Then we move on to Tuesday, which is It's a Kind of Magic, the Association of Independent Personal Search Agents, of which Hamish is currently chairman. Then on Thursday, we have Property Quorum, which is a bit of a fun fight where we talk about a topic that's really rocking the day. And then on Friday, we have Cladding Matters, where we've taken on the establishment. We're talking about building safety, about post-Grenfell cladding disaster, and all things that affect that. And I believe we've got some news. But before we get there, first of all, as per usual, Hamish, will you get us going?
Good afternoon to you all. And another week of warmth, another day much closer to the weekend. At least we can pretty well gather what the weekend weather's going to be. So if we hadn't got anything to go around that, the sad thing is what you need to look at is the conditions that, in fact, it was on the BBC last night at sort of 6 o'clock. And I'm not too sure where it was. I mean, it was hideous looking at the scaffold. Never mind that. We've already found a better way than the current sort of means of scaffolding.
Absolutely.
And the clouding over the covering. And can you imagine? There are thousands of people all over the country. Well, it's hard to tell because we don't know how many properties are under remediation, but they're shrouded. You can't open the windows. Can you imagine what it's like with this weather? But there's 4 words that we want to actually sort of speak about. One of them is Hillsborough, because that is the name that's currently sort of being put together as the Hillsborough Law. And the Hillsborough Law speaks about candour and accountability. Those in a public office should be held accountable, because that didn't happen at Hillsborough. That didn't happen at Grenfell. We haven't actually sort of had the truth out. In fact, all of these things, they take forever for a decision to be made. But it is people not taking into account what they have been told by people who have knowledge of such things. So this is what we're about today. And there's no let up in it. We're speaking about one particular area of London at the moment. We're speaking about Greenwich Council. We're speaking about Royal Artillery Quays. But however, this is reflective of so many other people and what they're having to tolerate and what they're having to go through as well.
Well, here we are again, back with the Royal Artillery Quays front and centre of the news. Steve, and what do you have for us today?
Well, I mean, last night we were on the national news at 6 and news at 10 at Royal Artillery Quays. And basically, we exposed just how awful it is being in a heat wave with all your doors and windows nailed shut by the builders on the outside with all the noise and scaffolding, so the temperatures inside these flats are probably illegal. I don't think people should live in there. And the sun is on the huge amounts of glass that go from the ceiling to the ground. So, people are really struggling. And, we're in a situation at Royal Artillery Quays where the council have denied all our evidence exists, which risks us going through all of that for 2 years and then having another remediation if we're successful. And if we're not, we've got permanently high insurance and fire risk. The problem is the council, and this is what we're talking about today, a duty of candour. Stephanie Barwise put out a very, very powerful Substack, basically saying that the council has failed in its duty of candour to tell the truth. And I think we've covered, on multiple times, firstly in April, the council said it was the official council position that there's no evidence of unlawful construction based on all available information. ignoring the fact the council condemned the buildings as unlawful, ignoring the fact there were a load of professional reports saying it was unlawful, ignoring if they'd come to the blocks to see the missing fire doors at every staircase, which they could have done, ignoring all the internal reports that recommend prosecutions in the event of a fire. They're so dangerous. The council said none of that evidence exists, never has done. And then, so that was April. Then in June, they doubled down and says there's absolutely no evidence after we challenged them, and there was a Sun piece and all the rest of it. And then they said they always remain neutral. Well, how can it be neutral to deny everyone's evidence exists? And then they said it was ambiguous.
Yes.
Recently to Inside Housing, that they've always had an ambiguous position. There's nothing ambiguous about saying there's no evidence, absolutely no evidence of any unlawful construction based on all available information. So they lied initially in April. They lied again in June publicly, putting it through every single letterbox at RAC and on the internet and on the social media. Then they lie about it being a neutral position. Then they lie and say it's ambiguous. And now they're continuing the lie by refusing to meet us. Chief Executive Debbie Warren wrote to me saying, we will not meet you to discuss this. The council is absolutely happy with its position. So then I went to the MP in the background during the procedure, and I asked Abner a year ago, the Labour MP for Westmead and Erith and Thamesmead, to intervene. And she, her team wrote to me via her email saying, yes, you believe the council have wrongly denied the existence of all your evidence and you want them to correct the record. A perfect summary, you might say.
Yes.
Well, she went very quiet for a year after that. And then after I pushed and pushed and pushed, asking for a meeting, I think at the time of the Inside Housing, her aide got in touch and said, yes, we will consider asking the council to meet you. Then she went quiet after my repeated reminders that she said that. And then this week, I got an email from the executive saying, your request for a meeting is declined. The council is happy with its position. Well, of course they don't want a meeting. I'm going to say, well, can you justify why all the reports in front of me don't exist, given you were sent them at the following dates and from yourself? And they're going to say, get out. No wonder they don't want to meet me. And so we're in this terrible position where a council have basically been dishonest about building safety. Totally important. Well, bad news for the council, because after the Great Hillsborough tragedy, which, you know, again, was a big cover-up, and public officials and the police and all of that all had their hands in it.
There does appear to be a theme running.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's right. And so we're in a situation where we can't really do anything about a local authority lying. And of course, the other part of this, we went to the council complaints procedure and complained about their untrue positions. They didn't indulge us with any investigation. They just and also they refused to investigate it apart from stage one, which is kind of just chucking out stupid complaints, which makes sense if they're stupid, but not about the building safety evidence of 1,000 people in their false position without any justification. That isn't something to be, you know, shifted off the inbox, is it? And put in the special filing cabinet. Well, I think we got it in. And
Steve, it always gets me that they are constantly denying stuff that we have cast iron factual evidence about. They can't deny it. I mean, some of which, and this is the most amusing part to me, they issued. They made the statement right at the beginning saying that it was not up to code, and then they retracted it. I mean, which is it? Black or white?
Well, this is the problem. And I think we're in a situation now where it's very difficult for us to proceed. Oh, yeah. And the other point is we went to the Ombudsman as well, which is like the body above a council. Right. And the Ombudsman refused to condemn the council, saying they'd followed their complaints procedure perfectly. Well, you know, maybe if you strictly don't look at what the complaint was about and you say they considered it at stage one and rejected it, well, they followed the rejection procedure if you want to do that. But you know, the point is the complaint was serious. They didn't ever justify it. They didn't, you know, it's a kind of thing which someone says, I want all councillors to wear green hats forever, and I'm complaining that they don't. Well, maybe you don't give a justification for why they don't. But you know, it's a category our complaint got rejected in. So you've basically got a complete failure of engaging with the council to correct the record, both in personal meetings, in amendments and motions in the chamber to get them to do it, in loads and loads of emails from both myself and residents. You've got the council legal officer threatening harassment proceedings against me. You've got 2 councillors writing that I'm inciting violence towards women by asking for this false position to be corrected. You've got the Earl of Lytton writing in, and he asked for a public inquiry into it. You've got Stephanie Barwise basically putting the Substack out. You've got all the information we're reminding them constantly, and they still keep this completely untrue position and then lie about the lies with the ambiguous and the neutral. So where are we? Well, fortunately, the Hillsborough disaster Parliament has put a law together which is going through Parliament. Let's have a look at it. It's that first green box, the big green one there.
All right, here we go. Let's bring that up, shall we? There we go.
Oh, no, not that one. We'll come to that, which is rather good. Not that. That's, yes. Public Office Accountability Bill. So this Hillsborough law would create a duty of candor for public officials and introduce parity of representation for bereaved families at inquests. So we're not in the second section, but we are in the first. So if you go to the description of what the Act does, next one. One more. That one. The bill would create a new offence of failing to uphold the duty of candour and assistance. This would apply across the UK and would attract a penalty of up to 2 years imprisonment and/or a fine. The bill would also create a new offence of misleading the public, which is intended to apply to the most serious acts of wrongdoing. Well, I think denying the existence of dangerous, unlawful building safety defects affecting 1,000 people is probably up there as a serious act of wrongdoing. The offence would apply only in England and Wales and would attract a penalty of up to 2 years imprisonment and/or a fine. Well, bad news for the council, because both their public officials and the councillors could fall afoul of the 2 years in prison for basically lying, continuing to lie, and then introducing a lie after lie when the evidence has been proven. Let's get Stephanie Barwise's view up. So obviously Stephanie's reviewed all the evidence impartially. It's the other one, Gareth, where you got Stephanie, yeah. So she's reviewed all the evidence. She's produced that Substack backing our view, calling out the council for a patently untrue position, I think she says. Yep. And basically, let's have a look at what she says now in relation to the Hillsborough law. So she's saying, of course, if Greenwich insist on continuing to repeat the misstatement or making fresh misstatements, such as they have now accepted that their original state was ambiguous, which it was not. It was a pellucid denial that there was any evidence. Then there would be no need for the Hillsborough law to operate retrospectively, for Greenwich would be caught by it now. And the thing is, all we have to do is, when it's law, is say, do you accept all our evidence now exists? If they say no, damn, you're guilty, the law's passed, we don't have to go back to the past, you're still lying, gotcha. And 2 years with His Majesty's pleasure will probably mean a new duty of candour is more respected. Now, obviously, it's a bit of a procedure to haul them before the courts. But if the councillors are watching and you're in the category of being involved in basically denying all our evidence exists, then watch out. You think there's no repercussions. You think Anthony Okereke, the council leader, has protected you. But you are complicit in your silence. And if you're guilty under this act, you should hang your heads in shame, and you could be at risk of a fine or prison. And I'm not joking. We will get our justice for this. This is becoming far more than about building safety. It's about lying in public life. And if there's a law that will get criminal prosecutions for this, then I'm afraid that's what needs to happen, because we're going to go down a very dark path. But also, I met Lord Bew a couple of weeks ago, and if we can get his excellent question up. Lord Bew,
tell Did you provide that to me?
Of laws, yes, it's the one you haven't shown. I think you've got 4 images, and you've shown it a few times. I know it's there. Keep shifting through.
I only have 4. That one. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. So I met Lord Bew, and then basically he's very supportive of holding the council to account. So without naming Greenwich Council, his public question to the government, which they've got to answer very shortly, actually in 7 days' time, on the 17th of July, to ask His Majesty's government what plans they have to amend the Public Office Accountability Bill to require local authorities to correct inaccurate statements. So what's the minister going to say? Oh, no, they must keep their lies. Let's keep those lies. Very difficult, isn't it? And if she says yes, of course they should correct inaccuracies.
I'll be interested in seeing how they wriggle out this one.
Yeah, so I mean the government and they all know the connection with us probably in Greenwich, but the other thing is what is the law for if it isn't forced incorrect public authority statements, and also Lord Duval. I think we should bring this out. So I contacted Lord Duval. He's actually Anthony Okoreki's mentor. He's the Lord, one of the Lords of Woolwich, which is where Anthony's offices are, where I live on my sorry tale. And old Lord Duval has agreed to talk to Anthony about his absolutely ridiculous lies that his council are putting out. And I mean, I'm appalled at him. He hasn't once reached out, Anthony Okoreki. He hasn't indulged us on this platform. He's getting...
We've offered him write a reply on multiple occasions and have said that we would be given a fair and absolutely balanced response. We would not be looking to witch hunt. We are there to correct and make it right.
He's a coward. He's told his CEO not to meet us. He's... I don't even remember all the details before, but we had over 100 RAC residents at their full council meeting where we had a motion amendment by the Tories to be heard to basically deal with all the flammable XPS panels they want to leave in our fire shaft, those firelighters, and they kept us to the last minute at 10 o'clock at night before the council would have closed the meeting. And if it wasn't for one very, very sheepish Labour councillor that got up and said, well, we can't just filibuster out. No, there's 100 people here that want their motion heard. You can't just... and then they reluctantly asked for extra time. And we, after waiting 4 hours from 6 o'clock till 10, everyone was exhausted. Then they rushed through the motion and denied it. That is the kind of... So I'm afraid, Anthony Okoreki, if you or any of your so-called supporters are looking into this matter and looking at this podcast with disdain, ask yourself, Anthony, this is just escalated because you are putting 1,000 lives at risk and lying, putting out untrue, false council positions, denying the existence of building safety defects, calling on our MP and your colleague Abena to be silent on the matter, and telling your chief executive under no means meet the residents' chair and the residents' association on this critical matter of building safety. You are an appalling leader, and I've held back until now, but my goodness, you should resign with immediate effect.
Okay, well, look, I'm not. I understand your need to express here, and I would say that Anthony, look, the optics of
come on, Anthony, if you disagree.
The optics are not great for you right now, and I'm begging with you. Let's right this whole ship. It's not hard to do. All you have to say is, we made an honest mistake. This is the actual true position, and then we can draw a line underneath it. It means that the remediation can go ahead in the knowledge that you've agreed that there were problems at the time of building. That means that things can move forward smoothly. But if you continue in this mode, I can't see it getting any easier. So I'm appealing to you as one gentleman to another. Why don't you just make an honest fist of it, come on here, say your piece, and we can move along the bus. It's really not hard. Hamish, time has run out for us. Would you care to take us home?
Yeah, I will indeed. I mean, there's no change. We have that open offer. And it's not just for any one single person. It's for anybody to actually sort of come on board and explain to us why there was a need for these dishonest statements to have been made and the continuation of those dishonest statements. There must be something in the minds of, and you know, one wonders exactly why it is that these decisions are completely sort of these, if you like, these dishonest comments do actually sort of continue. Is there something else in the minds of those that agree to the dishonesty that's going on? I don't know.
I mean, interestingly enough, our theme tune says big bad builders. It's been in my mind to change it to big bad councils. But anyway, moving on. Thank you so much, Hamish McClay, as ever, for helping put this together and frankly providing a nice platform for this whole purpose of this. And Steve, amazing fight that you put forward, finally getting some chinks of light through, so at least the world can see this dishonest, yes, I said it, dishonest viewpoint that's being put forward by various places. And to you council members, take note. Come on, be the bigger person. Come on, let's draw a line under these. Come on board, say your piece. Your right of reply here, absolutely. And to all of you watching, thank you so much for your continued support. Every so often I encounter someone say, keep pushing, keep pushing. Well, we are doing our best. Until next week, hopefully with great news. Maybe Anthony will want to make an appearance, who knows? I'm not holding my breath though. Until next week, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars as ever. And please, and these, keep hydrated and look after your mental health. Bye-bye now.
There's a tale about some folks with hammers and some nails. They'll polish through the moon, but their word always fails.